and they want to make sure the U.S. inspectors aren't there. Now, once again, we're still several years away from the actual Third World War, in my opinion, because the strategy is for China, in league with Russia, to cover Russia's rear by creating a shield all across the eastern Pacific, and that means taking Japan all the way down through Australia, much as Japan did in World War II. And that's why I don't recommend, for example, Australia and New Zealand as retreat sites. Australia has sold most of their mineral rights to China. China will occupy Australia and New Zealand, the Philippines, and much of the wealth of the Indonesian shipping channels. And in order to do that, China has to have a full operational blue water navy. And a lot of people say, well, why is China building aircraft carriers when she's designed all of these weapons to destroy the U.S. aircraft carrier fleet? It's specifically because they tend to use nuclear weapons to decimate our fleet in the Pacific when war comes, and then bring out their aircraft carriers when, in fact, the nuclear weapons have been spent. I also believe there's a long-term strategic analysis that the trigger event of World War III will be North Korea. North Korea has a significant nuclear weapons program. They've tested a couple of nuclear weapons. They have the missiles to develop it, even though they've had several recent failures. But it's interesting to note the contrast between the U.S. treatment of North Korea and the U.S. treatment of Iran. The U.S. and NATO continue to decry North Korea's weapon system, and yet they have guaranteed that there'll be no military intervention, no attempts at regime change, and every time they make threats against North Korea about the nuclear program, they back down. They continue to give food aid and other aid. The sanctions are really paper tigers, whereas Iran, who we don't even know has a nuclear program, I happen to think that they are planning a nuclear program and trying to get one. I would too. I thought the globalists were out to get me. But nevertheless, the contrast between how you're going to attack Iran, even though it doesn't have a full-blown nuclear program yet, and you give North Korea a free ride, means that the globalists in the West are aware that North Korea is being preserved as China's trigger. And why does it make a good trigger? Because North Korean forces are so overwhelming in the North Korean peninsula that the only way to stop a massive wave of North Korean attack into the south is to use tactical nuclear weapons.